Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vegan Proteins Muscles by Brussels Radio. My name is 𝐃𝐨𝐬.
And I'm Danny.
And this is episode 170.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming. It feels so weird to pull the shades down in the middle of the day and then turn on artificial lights.
Why? Who are you kidding? You are more than happy to pull the shade down and work in a dimmer. I've seen it before. You don't mind the dim, do you? I mean, you like natural light, but...
I like natural light. It was like the number one thing that we needed in a house that we were buying was loads of natural light.
Yeah, but I've
Listen,
seen
just because I wear all black all the time doesn't mean that I don't enjoy colorful things. What it means is I don't know how to dress myself. So...
Meanwhile, I'm over here. I think I've done like 3 outfit changes today, minimum, and it's only 2 o'clock. I got problems. I mean, granted, I've been up since 3 in the morning, but I don't think you need to change your clothes 3 times before the evening.
I'm not changing my clothes until I go to bed. What I put on first thing in the morning, like that's what I'm doing for the day. If that means I'm going to the gym in sweatpants, then I'm going to the gym in sweatpants.
I'm so not looking forward to mowing the lawn right now. It's growing, but it's getting nicer outside. Maybe we go on a walk or something like that at some point eventually. I don't know. Does anyone else get cabin fever when it's been winter and you're just stuck indoors and all of a sudden you're like just itching to get outside?
I think everybody gets that. Doesn't everybody get that?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's kind of like...
you ask questions that make me wonder if you have actually lived a human life for 43 years.
I'm an actual robot. Yeah, that's it.
Does anybody else hate bad things? Yes, they do.
We just confirmed that we're coming to Atlanta. When was the last time we went there? It's been a while.
I haven't been to Atlanta in like probably 5 years.
I don't think I've gone without you, so it's probably the same. And I could think of several of the reasons why we've gone to Atlanta. And I know how much we love that. There's that one haunted, yes, the Highland Inn.
Yeah, that place is for sure haunted. That inn is for sure haunted. It's very cool, but it's definitely not haunted.
Oh yeah, and Atlanta kind of has a heart. That place is just so much. It's so cool. So I am genuinely looking forward to it.
We're going down for the Peachtree Road Race, which I guess is the oldest 10K in the country. So that's what we're going to be doing. Vegan Strong is going to be there with a booth talking about veganism and how to build muscle on plants. And we've never seen it before, so we don't really know what to expect. So if you guys do know what to expect, let us know in the comments.
And maybe we'll see you there. But that's not what we're talking about today, Danny. What are we talking about?
We're talking about confidence today. I think it's a really important topic in general, like for anybody, whether like health and fitness is a goal or not. So you could take anything we're about to say and apply it to literally any area of your life. But, I think we're also going to talk about how it applies to reaching your physique goals, adhering to your nutrition, doing your training, etc.
Yeah, and specifically for us too, as 2 real world examples, because as health and fitness coaches, we need to portray confidence no matter what, and I think so.
Okay.
Well, think about it. We want to coach our clients into being confident to reach their goals and everything like that. So I guess in my opinion, there's a little bit of a struggle there because you don't want to, how do I say? You don't want to show that it's hard to be confident when you have clients and you want them to be confident that they can reach their goals. So there could be a little bit of, it could be tricky because everyone lacks confidence at one point or another. And I know I've struggled with it. It's something that I actually have kind of tackled for the past 6 months or so. It's like, am I really confident? And do I just try to come across as confident? It is definitely one of those skills that take time to develop, but you can also really see where you might be more confident than you actually think that you are just because you're appearing confident.
Well, you did say one thing there that I think is really important. A lot of people think of confidence as like a personality that you just have or you don't, or even a feeling. But I actually think that confidence in and of itself is a skill that you can develop over time. I don't think it's a personality. I think it's a skill that requires action in order to develop.
Exactly. And I do feel like the perfect combination is the person who comes across as confident and who actually is confident. But if you're the type like me where you fake it till you make it and you're not really confident, and then you have to do the work and find a way to be confident, it can be a little hard to combine the two and be like, oh yeah, I am that person who's been acting like that as, but you wind up seeing a lot of others who they don't appear confident, but on the inside they actually are. And we don't take them seriously. We're like, oh, that's not a confident person. And that can be hard to be judged like that, I think. And that there are so many people out there like that, because to actually be confident in something, you have to tackle what you struggle at and what you need to work on to be like, yeah, I could talk about this thing, or I am this thing, or whatever.
Interesting. The whole that was all very interesting.
What are your
I
thoughts?
I think that first of all, I think that everybody probably struggles with confidence at some point in their life or in some area of their life. Because what I have noticed is I have met people who are incredibly confident in one area of their life, but not confident at all in another area of their life. And I feel like we do see this a lot with clients or people who come to us. You know, they might be very, very successful at their job, which is like a, you know, top tier, really impressive job, but it's like they can't stop eating an entire bag of chips every night. So their level of confidence in their ability to eat well and take care of themselves is like in the toilet, even though they're super confident in what it is they do for a living. So I think you kind of have to look at confidence in a bunch of different areas of your life, but also I think probably the most important piece to have is confidence or like self-esteem, just the belief in yourself, period. Like that you are capable of doing things, like you are capable of following through on things, and you're a person who will try. Confidence is the willingness to try.
Exactly. And I think you have to cut through the frustration when you're dealing with other people and you're dealing with being in a room of people where someone can actually get what they need out of the room or talk to people in a certain way, and they're not really confident, but they're fooling everyone, or they're taken just as seriously and they're not confident. And meanwhile, you're the one sitting there trying to do the work and be like, I can do this. I know what I'm talking about. I know how to deliver my message or whatever it is. But in reality, that other person who is just coming across as more confident in you is going to be taken more seriously sometimes by a fair amount of people, right?
See, to me, I think it's very easy to confuse confidence and arrogance. And confidence is quiet, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Confidence is quiet. Confidence doesn't need to proclaim themselves every time they walk into a room. People that boast a lot or like come across as like really super cocky or self-assured, and they just constantly talk about themselves or name drop or this or that, they are in my opinion, again, just my opinion, they are desperately trying to come across as confident. And whenever I see that or hear somebody talking like that, to me, that is an immediate notification that they are actually not confident at all.
Well, there's a good chance of it. It's a flag, put it that way. It's reason to start to be suspicious and be like, does this person really know what they're talking about? Or are they worth talking to? Or are they actually practicing what they preach? Do they know anything about whatever it is that they're trying to come across as they know something about?
Sometimes when I see people like that, it actually like triggers empathy in me of just like, oh, this poor person feels like they have to sell themselves to every person in this room when they probably didn't have to. Like it can be a nervous thing, but it's not confidence. Like it's a fine line between feeling confident in your ability or competent in your ability to do something versus, and sometimes you got to convince yourself, right? Like I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, versus telling other people, I can do this, I have done this. Like basically just like almost gassing yourself up for other people. Sometimes I gas myself up in my head before I do something, but I don't know. To me, I think a lot of people think people that are very loud and forward and opinionated and, you know, the first person to talk in a room, people assume, wow, they have so much confidence. And I actually find it's often some of the quieter people in the room that have more actual confidence.
So what happens when you realize, oh crap, whatever it is that I want to be comfortable talking about, and I should be talking about and deserve to be talking about because I have something to say. What happens when you keep looking into whatever you're looking into and you realize, oh, I really don't know as much as I think that I know, and quite frankly, I don't know a damn thing at all, but I still want to talk about this thing. I still want to be comfortable talking about it. What the imposter syndrome, for example, or the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
Dunning-Kruger, stuff like that.
What is the question?
Well, what happens when when you wind up being in that position and you want to find a way to be confident?
I mean, I tend to think that although imposter syndrome is incredibly uncomfortable, and I've had it and I hate it, it doesn't feel good at all. I think a lot of times it's a good sign that one, you care, and two, again, you are in a situation that is challenging you in some way. And that's really, again, this is how you build confidence. Confidence is not built when everything is going great. That's when arrogance is built, is when everything's going great. Confidence is built when things are hard, when things are challenging, when you maybe are failing over and over again, but every time you do, you're learning and also learning that you are the type of person that will fail and try again. And that, to me, builds a lot of confidence. That doesn't mean you're perfect. Being confident doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It means that you know that you're going to try. And even if you fail, you're going to try again. That, to me, imposter syndrome is like, okay, I'm not there yet, but I'm willing to learn how to be.
Right, but you could wind up landing in a position where sometimes that loop, that constant loop,
What loop?
well, put it this way, when you think you're over the hump, but then you realize this type of scenario is going to repeat itself time and time again, that's kind of painful.
So you're literally talking about the Dunning, like when you are learning and you realize you know less than you thought you did.
And then you get to a point where you're like, yes, I'm comfortable talking about this. I feel like I should. I know that I have something to say and that people will eventually listen no matter where they're at. But then all of a sudden you get past it and, put it this way. I feel like you wind up experiencing imposter syndrome again and again and again. I think it's possible. Put it that way. You disagree?
Well, if we're talking about one topic, yeah, I do disagree.
Okay.
Because the more you realize you don't know, the more confident you are in the things that you do know. And knowing you don't know everything, I think that's actually a good thing. Recognizing, oh, there's a lot I don't know. I mean, the smartest people that I've ever even heard of know there's a lot that they don't know that stuff is being discovered in the fitness and nutrition field all the time. It's changing all the time. I don't think it makes them less confident to recognize that their opinion on a particular topic could change in the future. I think it takes a very confident person to say, if shown the correct evidence, I might change my mind. That requires a lot of chutzpah for somebody to say, hey, I think maybe I was wrong.
You're referring to the person sending the message out, not the person receiving the message, correct?
I guess so. 𝐬𝐿𝐽's being very vague in the terms that he's using here, so I'm trying very hard to follow. The person that's doing this, the person, let's use some actual examples here.
I think of the examples that I wind up finding myself in often. Okay, you're a person speaking to an audience. There is a speaker and there's an audience, and you're speaking to the same audience over and over again, sometimes even the exact same audience in the exact same place.
Is this meta? Are we talking about you guys? What's happening? Okay, go on.
Anyways, so you're the speaker, right?
Okay.
And you're talking about the same topic, but here you are, and there's another speaker that comes on in, and everyone takes that person more seriously, even though you can tell that they don't quite have a grasp on whatever it is that they're talking about. How do you deal with the frustration, even though you're already confident with what you have to say, and people are just not listening because you're not dealing with either an intelligent enough audience or an open enough audience or whatever, or maybe you are not coming across the way that you think that you are, even though on the inside, you're like, hell yeah, I know what I'm talking about, and I am ready to put my whatever out there.
I mean, that's frustrating, But that doesn't change my confidence in myself.
Right. But we're not just talking about how you feel about yourself. We're talking about how others take you in and how you,
No, see, this is where I'm gonna hard disagree with you here.
okay.
The way other people perceive you should have nothing to do with your own confidence in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there.
Then what are we talking about?
I guess that's just the idea of like how people perceive confidence. Put it that way. People are not perceiving you as confident versus,
But I don't care. Like and I don't think any of you should care either, is my point. Like if you are confident in something, you don't need to convince other people that you're confident. Again, that's where I see like the kind of more arrogant people. If other people don't think you know what you're talking about and you know you do know what you're talking about, their loss, I guess. You know, we see that all the time as just like as sort of evidence-based vegan coaches. Like we see it all the time in the influencer space. There's a lot of very loud people out there saying a lot of things that don't even come near like the realm of something that is true, and people are just eating it up left and right. Oh well, we just come on here, we talk about the stuff that we think matters and is helpful to other people, and if people listen, awesome, and if they don't, oh well.
fair enough. Okay, fine.
You know, we can try to change our message to reach more people, to be helpful to more people, repackage the message, but it's still, I don't know, at the end of the day, I don't think it has anything to do with confidence.
Okay, fine. So aside from getting better at whatever it is that you're getting better at and knowing that you're getting better at it, including your
So
delivery.
vague, so vague. Go on. And then you know you're better, and then you're getting better at the thing you're bettering. What would you do? Like that's what I'm hearing right now, Giacomo. You're killing me.
And you're coming for me, which it's okay. That's all right. It's all good. Okay, so I think one way to become more confident in something is to do your homework, right? Do your research. What are some other examples of how to become more confident with something, as far as how you feel about something, whatever, like a topic or whatever?
So give me an example specifically
That's what I'm asking for.
pertaining
I'm
to
asking
health
you
and
for
fitness.
examples.
Okay, so your confidence in going to the gym. If you are not somebody who already goes to the gym, the idea of going to the gym can be kind of scary to a lot of people. What are you afraid of? First of all, they're afraid of walking in there and looking stupid and not knowing what they're doing, getting lost, maybe hurting themselves. Those are all perfectly valid fears. Should they stop you from doing it? No, they should not. But they're valid fears. Can you do anything about any of them? Yeah, you could. You could go online and look at the gym's website and try to get a feel for what the layout is. You could make sure that you have some program that you feel like, okay, yeah, that's just dumbbells and a bench. I could probably just do that, walk over to the dumbbells and give that a try. By planning and researching, you can have some kind of a plan before you get there, which should help you feel a little bit less scared of doing the thing.
And then the other things that you can do are you can change how you show up when you train and how you interact with other people. If you're not a people person in terms of how you, whatever, just start having conversations, but you still want to be comfortable around other people, start making eye contact with other people. I don't mean like stare people down. I know, trust me, I know you well enough to know exactly where your head's going with this. I mean to not hide from the fact that you're around other people, even if you're more of an introverted person, or you're like, I'm going to get in and get out, and I want to be around gym rats. I don't want to actually have full-blown conversations here, but you don't want to be uncomfortable around other people either. People go to the gym and they are uncomfortable around other people, not necessarily because, well, and sometimes other gym members and the way they lift makes people uncomfortable, but sometimes it's literally just you.
Mhm.
And you project that onto the gym floor because you're training around other people. So rather than just try to like get more knowledgeable or get better at training this or that, don't be afraid to like, again, not like stare people down, but to just recognize you're around other people, and that's okay. It's okay to like be uncomfortable with yourself because you're not where you want to be yet, but to not be afraid to be around other people and acknowledge the other people in the gym without actually having to engage with them. That's one example. Another example is to not be afraid to acknowledge yourself. Like a lot of people will get into their workout and they didn't want to look in the mirror because they feel shame about where they're not yet, right? I don't know if you've ever experienced. I mean, honestly.
Nope. I am deadlock stared at myself in the eyes. If there's a mirror in front of me at the
Really?
gym, I am glaring into my own eyes while
That's
I train.
wild. I didn't know that about you. So, see, I'm a people person. I don't mind talking to perfect strangers in the gym. I also don't mind looking at the mirror, but there have been times where I have felt somewhat uncomfortable around the people at the gym because of my own insecurities, and there have been times where I've felt uncomfortable looking in the mirror because of my own insecurities. So it actually, that's kind of shocking that you haven't experienced either of those, because I feel like that's just kind of a part of being around others when you are unintentionally projecting whatever it is that you're wrestling with. That's wild. I didn't know that. I've definitely experienced both of those.
When your eyes start wandering around on the mirrors, you end up accidentally staring at other people in the mirror matrix. So that's one of the reasons that I try not to. First of all, I keep my gaze moving all the time in the gym so I don't accidentally zone out staring at somebody. But yeah, also the mirror matrix, you can be staring at somebody by accident. Like, nope. I want to watch myself. I want to watch my form. Never felt weird about watching myself exercise in the mirror. I would feel weird, like just flexing and posing in the middle of the gym floor, but not like staring myself dead in the eyes while I do barbell squats. I don't know.
I'm learning something new over here. This comes as a shocker to me. That's the stuff that I think about in this specific example. The stuff that is less about training, getting used to what you're doing and doing it consistently, routinely, and feeling like you belong there. It's like feeling like you belong there because of the environment and the people there. I think that's part of the struggle as well, and working on that.
Well, I think that the practice, which, the planning, I guess I should say, the planning before you get there is important. But I also think accepting the fact that this is new to you. You might show up and make a fool of yourself. I mean, chances are very good somebody's going to help you, but you could apply this to anything. You could apply it to public speaking, right? You're going to prepare for it. You're going to prepare for it. You could get up on stage and bomb. It's possible. You just have to be willing to accept, hey, I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best, but I might suck at this. And then you go back and you do it again. And the next day you suck a tiny bit less. And the next day you suck a tiny bit less. And that, to me, is what builds confidence.
Repetition and continuing to try
Mm-hmm.
again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Even with knowing full right and well that several of the times before you made that next effort and tried again, that you completely bombed.
And particularly like with challenging things. I'm not saying if you've never hiked in your life, your goal should be Mount Kilimanjaro at the beginning, but you have to find something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. It has to be a little bit challenging in order to be kind of effective enough to help you build confidence. I'm a big fan of Atomic Habits. I like tiny little habits stacked on top of each other, but even I can see that, yeah, some atomic habits might be so small that they actually don't help you build much confidence. Putting your running shoes by the door every day, like that might not be enough to make you feel confident enough to start running. The only thing that's going to make you confident enough to run is going to be to run, run a short distance, run. My grandfather used to tell me how he started to run. Back in the day before cell phones and GPSs, he'd run from one telephone pole to the next telephone pole, and then he'd walk to the next telephone pole, and then he'd run to the next one, and then he'd walk to the next one until he would run a marathon on the weekends, which I don't know if you knew that. Crazy, but he would. But you start with something that's hard, but likely doable, even if with a few tries, and then you build from there. And I mean, I really feel like that applies to everything. Again, if you try to hike Mount Kilimanjaro on day one, you're going to fail so badly that you may never do it again. So I don't think like 180ing everything in your life is a good idea. I think it's a terrible idea. But if you want to go vegan, for example, plan, do your research, get ready, and then start one food group at a time. If the thought of going vegan overnight is like super overwhelming to you, start with just first you cut out beef, then you cut out chicken, then you cut out fish, then you cut out dairy, etc. Like until you're vegan. But you have to actually do it. If you hate fish already and you never eat fish, and you say, well, I'm going to stop eating fish on day one, did you really challenge yourself at all? Or did you just stop eating something that you already didn't like eating? Be like, if I was like, I'm going to challenge myself to not eat cilantro, that would not be a challenge because I will never eat cilantro. You have to find something. If I said, I'm going to stop eating cupcakes, which I will never do, that would be a challenge. So,
Yeah. Or you could be like me and be very good at following a recipe, but not necessarily good at creating recipes or improvising if a recipe goes wrong, but you keep showing up and trying.
that is correct. And he has built confidence in the kitchen by failing many, many times, right, babe?
Yes, but I'm also confident enough to know that there is still a lot more work there that I need to do to fully understand how to, and I should do a little more homework too on understanding, even if it's intimidating being around someone like you who has spent many years in the restaurant industry, for example, and also just learning how to cook. So it's one of those things where like you have to get past your own ego and you're intimidated by others or intimidated by what you don't know or this or that. And it sounds silly, but it's true. It's like when I was taking singing lessons and it was a totally new thing for me. And I'm not tone deaf, thankfully. I could be, but I just so happen to not be tone deaf. So I didn't have that working against me. And it was a brand new thing. But because I was not already good at it, and I know that you are actually very good at singing, I I failed at this. I think I'll try again eventually, but like I couldn't get past I couldn't get past myself and being intimidated by other people. You aren't trying to intimidate me. Just one of those things where it's like sometimes you can, but that's not a reason to not keep trying. But it is possible. It is possible to be around someone else that already has what you want and it can get in your own way. And then you got to figure out a way to get past it.
It's a really good point about speaking about confidence in general is if you want to become more confident, you have got to stop comparing yourself to other people. I mean, that's a perfect example. Also, weird way to out me on the podcast.
And that's the other thing. Here's where I feel like it is the hardest thing to do, to admit it too, as opposed to being prideful about it or resentful. I think here's the confident part. Not that I got anywhere with it, but I literally said it to you. I'm like, look, it's not you, it's me. And I can't get past the fact that you're just so good at this thing that it's intimidating to me. I wasn't blaming you. I wasn't using it as an excuse to give up. I wasn't putting it on you or experiencing anything that would make me hate myself, for example. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of like, okay, well, it's my responsibility to figure out how to do this thing and not mess with someone else because I lack confidence in it. And even though I guess we could say I gave up on that, and I don't think that's the only reason. I know that one day, if I really want it, nothing will stand in my way. Because even though I'm not confident enough to practice right now, I've chosen not to. I know I could do it again because I am in fact a confident person. You see, so I'm sorry for being like a little like loopy about explaining it all, but you don't actually have to be good at something to be confident at the idea that you can do it.
You're not gonna be good at it. Like if it's something brand new to you, the chances are higher than 50% that you're not gonna be good at it when you start. I mean, geez, do you guys remember a couple years ago when I said I was gonna run a 5K? And I trained for that 5K, like hard. And it's embarrassing to say because I'm a fitness coach. Like I coach top tier athletes. Like I've been working out for 15 years consistently through. And like, guys, I can't run. I suck at running. That's why I did it, because I had this story in my head that I suck at running. So therefore I do not run. And what kind of a hypocrite would I be to come on here, say all of this kind of stuff, and then not go try and do the things that I suck at? And I mean, I still suck at running, just so we're clear, but I set the goal, I trained for the goal, I achieved the goal, and then I realized that not only do I suck at running, but I also just don't like it, which is probably part of the reason I suck at it. So I made the decision at that point, like, this is not a priority to me. I proved that I can do it if I want to. I'm not going to do it anymore because I don't like it. I like hiking. I like walking. I like swimming. I like doing the elliptical. I like doing anything but running. So when you say you decided
Mm-hmm.
to stop singing,
Mm-hmm.
I think when it's like a conscious decision, like this is not, and I don't know if it was for you based on what you just said, but like when you decide, like, actually, cool, I did it, but like, I don't actually care about this that much, so I'm not going to keep pursuing it. But still, it adds to the confidence bank that you tried, that you did it.
Well, yeah, because then there's the idea of you set out to do something and you failed at it, so therefore you weren't really confident, right? But that's not necessarily true.
I did kind of fail. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
I had two goals. One was to finish in under 35 minutes, the 5K, and the other one was to do the whole thing without needing to walk at all. I did finish it under 35 minutes, but I did end up having to walk a little bit at the end. I started too fast. It was way hillier than I thought. So I did fail part of that goal, but it was enough. For me, it was enough to feel really good about it and make that decision. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you're absolutely right. I think, but this is an important distinction to make, and I can't stress it enough. You can fail at something and still be confident the thing you failed at. You can fail at something and choose to not do it again and still be confident with your ability to try to do it again and with what you've done. It's a state of mind. It's a way of being. It's not necessarily you getting better at something and you researching something and that's what makes you confident, although that is a part of it.
I think of Daisy, our niece Daisy. She is 7, and I remember at 7 being like pretty aware of what other people thought of me at that point. So I know she said some things that make me know she is aware that other people might think things about her. Daisy does not have an innate athletic ability, like at all. She reminds me very much of me in that way as a kid. But here's where she is different than me. She will try over and over and over and over again. We went to a trampoline park. I mentioned it in the last podcast, I think, and we did the like ropes course thing. And I'm going to get like teary thinking about how proud I am of her. Whew. But she couldn't get past the first step, the very first obstacle, which I can't even remember exactly what it was. It was like stepping out onto a rope that had knots on it or something. And if you fell onto a giant pillow, basically. And she must have done it like 30 or 40 times in a row, not achieved it once. And she had a smile on her face the whole time. And this place was packed. Like other people could see her. Other kids were just flying across. And she just kept doing it. And it was a very, first of all, it made me feel really good as an aunt to see like how confident she is, even though she couldn't do the thing. But also it was a good lesson to me. Like it's okay to look stupid, to look like you don't know what you're doing, to just, nobody else was saying anything to her or nobody was side-eyeing her or anything. I think anybody that saw it would have been impressed that this 7-year-old kid just kept falling and falling and falling and falling and getting up and doing it again over and over. And then finally she just kind of got tired of it, I guess, and went on to something else. But okay.
No, that's unfortunately though, and even as adults, you'll have audiences that are being polite to you, but inside they're judging you, or audiences. I'm saying audiences.
Audiences.
It's funny. Actual real life scenarios where people will either be dismissive towards you, rude, mean, or be polite, but inside they're judging you and they're probably like, this person sucks or whatever. Like they're not someone that's worth your time a day.
And it has that has nothing to do with your confidence. When you have built enough confidence, what other people have to say about you or think about you, or, if anybody out there is going like, she couldn't even run 5K without stopping right now. Like, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, that's just, do I wish I could run better? Sure. Yeah. If I wanted to, could I? Yeah, absolutely. So, your confidence has nothing to do with other people. And if you can keep it that way, like if Daisy can keep it that way for a long time, she's going to be in real good shape.
But this doesn't come without effort, and it's not something you can do on your own, or it is something you could ask others. I think that's also really helpful, is to ask others for support with whatever it is that you're looking to do, or however it is that you're looking to be. Like that, I think that's part of it, is to know that you can't do it on your own, even though you have that like internal whatever, that it's nice to lean on others for support because that's how you can wind up getting the answers and getting to be confident, whatever else it is that you need to be confident at.
I have some other
Part
like
of
real
it.
quick tricks
Go for it.
to help with confidence in the moment when you're like thinking about doing something, but then you like think about it for too long and convince yourself not to do it, right? So this isn't my trick. This is Mel Robbins' trick. It is when you think you want to do something and you start to do that, like, well, should I? You just think to yourself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you do the thing. Like you just do the action, whatever the action is. Doesn't matter what the action is. The action could be getting out of bed in the morning. If you're like, I don't want to do it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're up. Like it's such a simple little trick, but it works a lot of the time. But my favorite tip is to have an alter ego.
Yeah, see, I got that all here, and I know that's coming from you, and I don't know what, like that one's kind of weird to me, but I know like you're really, I feel like this is a you thing,
Oh, yes.
much more so than a me thing, just knowing you. So I'm super curious.
Well, people
Please.
have heard me talk about like think about your future self as a different person. That's one way to do this is to think about your future self as someone else and it's a friend and you want to do good things for your friend, right? So then you make good choices. You want your friend to be a better at push-ups. You start doing push-ups so she can be better at doing push-ups. That's just an example. But the much more fun one is to pretend you are somebody else that is
Now I
more confident.
remember. Okay, thanks for bringing me back. Yes, you've talked about this before. Go ahead.
So it doesn't, I mean, it could be like, it could be a celebrity, it could be a character from a book, it could be somebody that you completely made up. You don't have to tell anybody about it. You don't have to go full, mental health issues and start going by another name and talking in someone else's voice. But like, if you can imagine that you are Buffy, what would Buffy the Vampire Slayer do in this situation? And then do that thing. Or, I often think of myself as like a superhero. I mean, I don't actually think I'm a superhero. I'm not that full of myself. But if I'm having a hard time doing something that I know in my heart that I want to do, if I have some fear or resistance around doing something, I will just like pretend I am a vigilante superhero. And what would that person do in this
I've
situation?
seen this in motion, by the way. She's bringing me back. And this is definitely a her thing and not a me thing. I feel like I've leaned on that idea from time to time, but it is not innately, like, it's just not something I think about. But it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, right?
It could be anybody. I mean, imagine, what would Arnold Schwarzenegger do in this situation? Like, if you want to be doing something, what would Arnold do right now? And then you think about it and do that thing. It could be anybody. And I think it's a very fun trick. And whatever, if you guys try it, let me know. I know I've put this in other videos, so it's not new.
Who are your favorite alter egos? And if you don't have one, who is going to be your alter ego after listening to this episode? I want to know.
Oh, I thought you were asking me. I was like, I just said. So no, I would love to hear that. Who would you like to emulate in those moments where you feel like you're lacking confidence? Let's see. Oh, okay. This next one is like a harder way. I think it's a harder way to be more confident, but I have noticed it in very confident people versus people who deal with more insecurities is they are a lot more honest with themselves about the hard stuff, about the shortcomings, about where they are falling short of the goal or what they said they were going to do, or if they're in a crummy situation, but is kind of like of their own making, but you like instinctively want to blame it on someone else or something else because that doesn't hurt as much as realizing like you put yourself in that shitty situation. Being honest with yourself is something confident people do. When they mess up, when they are wrong, when they change their mind, they say it, and it can be public like this, or it could be, this could be in your head. This could just be a situation, if you are sitting there very out of shape, struggling with, eating how you're ordering pizza every single night. You can sit there and be like, well, I'm so tired from work. How am I going to get the energy to go to the gym? And it's just so much easier to order pizza. I didn't have time to go to the grocery store. And like, listen, I get it. I have thought all of those things. So no shame there. But also, can you go a layer deeper than that and realize that if this was something that you really wanted to do, you would reprioritize some of the things in your day to try to make some of those things happen. Like, what can you do to move the needle on that? Can you order, if you're going to order out, could you order something healthier than a pizza? Right? Like, it's as an example, but you are not going to do any of those things until you look at yourself seriously, you know?
Well, that's hard because you have so much else going on outside of yourself that it's easy to unintentionally blame or to look outwardly at others because you can't see yourself. You don't want to see yourself. You don't want to take that kind of level of accountability and responsibility for whatever it is that you might have caused. For example, I mean, but you are the only thing standing in the way of yourself. You really are.
I mean, but not 100% of the time. I don't think it's 100% of the time. I really do think there are some situations where people are just stuck in a rock and a hard place.
Sure.
I don't want to overlook that. But I do think in every situation, like you just said, there's probably something. There's probably something that you could change or improve to move towards the thing that you want to do, the person you want to be.
That there is some part of it where you can take ownership so that even though you can be in a rock and a hard place and it isn't only you, that there is some piece of whatever that you can keep and be like, okay, well, I can change my own narrative. I can change my own character. I cannot control my environment. I cannot control people. I cannot control how this affected me and what I did in the past, but I can control how I think about this and change and be better for the future.
Or like it's not even just thinking. Like, because again, confidence to me is an action. You have to take an action to build the confidence.
Yeah, totally.
So thinking is great. Change your thinking patterns.
Yes.
Awesome. But also you have to do something
They have
with it.
to exactly. They got to be one and the same. You have to meet it with action, and sometimes that action is awkward, uncomfortable, and you have to literally force yourself to take that action because it's for the sake of not only your own sanity, it's because you want to be a better person. You want to be a good person to yourself because that's how, well, hopefully, that's how you'll find yourself in better situations in the future and in better, healthier, happier, more confident environments.
Yeah.
That will be there for you even when like you're whatever.
And like, why does any of this matter? Why does confidence even matter? The reason that this matters to me is because I am not naturally a confident person. 𝐶𝐿 can attest to this. He brought up a video of me in first grade where I come across as very confident, but I've always been very confident in school. Outside of that, I've struggled with confidence in pretty much every way my whole life. So every single thing that I've ever done or achieved, I was terrified to do. Like, terrified. Going to the gym for the first time, getting into that, terrified. Literally stood in the corner on the elliptical for like 6 months before I ventured out of that room. Going vegan, I guess I wasn't terrified of going vegan, but I was terrified of dealing with what other people thought about me going vegan. I hid it from people for a long time.
It's pain. It's a real pain, honestly. Even someone at the gym was just trying to joke with me. I'm like, oh, no, he's using logic. He's cracking jokes. I have nothing else to say. But there was some truth to that humor, too. It was like, okay, who's going to sit here and mock the vegan or make fun of the vegan just to be social and funny? Like, ha, 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 I get it. I've been dealing with it for almost 20 years now. Yeah, that's a tricky one. That's a sticky one, I think, for a lot of us because you don't want... Sorry, go ahead.
But no, that's fine. But I mean, I was also 16. Now I don't care what other people say about it. I'm very confident in my decision. Probably more confident in that decision than many others I've made. The decision to compete. I mean, you remember. I was a former obese kid who decided to step on a bodybuilding stage. Like, that was terrifying. Moving across the country to Oregon. Terrifying. Starting a business. Terrifying. Quitting my day job to work in said business full time. Both of us. Terrifying. Like, I did not feel confident doing any of those things. None of those things. All the public speaking that we've done since then. Like, I could go on and on and on. But if you were to ask somebody, like, Is Danny confident? I think most people that know me would say yes. Like hard yes. But I know what I felt when I was doing those things, and it was scared and nervous and unsure and doubting myself, but taking the actions, and many of them very imperfectly, I might add. A lot of them went real sideways before they started getting better. That is what has made me more confident. And I say I'm not a naturally confident person because it took a lot of work to get here, but I would say that I am confident now. You know, there's still areas of my life that I don't feel super confident in, but most of them I do.
Right. Yeah. Moral of the story, give it time. That's what I'm thinking. Give it time. Let it play out.
Be scared and do it anyway.
Be active.
Like you're gonna be scared. You're gonna be nervous.
Yes.
You're gonna be afraid to fail. You're gonna fail.
Exactly.
Like, do it anyway.
Yep.
This is it. This is the one shot, guys.
It's true. There's no dress rehearsal for this. You have to live it.
This is it. Like, we're approaching middle age. We're getting to the point where more of our life is about to be behind us than in front of us.
Mm.
You know, like, I don't want to get there to the end and be like, oh, I wish I wasn't too scared to do blank. Like, I don't want to feel that way. Regret probably scares me more than anything else.
It's true.
So, anyway, wow, this topic went differently than I expected it to.
What did you expect?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, sometimes we come up with these topics and they're kind of amorphous blobs, or I have an idea the direction we want to go in.
Other times you wind up getting into like some sort of like actual legit conversation about it, which is where I feel like this one went. Yeah,
and let me tell you, after being together for 15 years, sometimes it's hard to almost like manufacture a conversation for a podcast between husband and wife of over 15 years.
Right. 170 nonetheless.
I don't know how our camera just died, but what we were saying is 170 episodes, and we have no intention on stopping anytime soon. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Vegan Proteins Muscles by Brussels Radio. If you're interested in any kind of one-on-one coaching, head over to veganproteins.com and fill out a coaching application, or you can shoot us an email, coach@veganproteins.com, and you'll hear back from one of us within the day. Once again, my name is Danny. 𝐶𝐿''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''''ll